I'd like to share my theory on where Camp Tipiskaw is located in the Disventure Camp universe. With the show shifting to a new location this season, I feel now would be the best time. While I have taken time to analyze information from the show for the best possible educated guess, I'm aware that it is nothing more than a guess, especially since any given information in the show may not be one-to-one with our reality. With that said, I'll begin my take with the following clip.
I came to the United States 3 years ago.
Normally, when I hear somebody share why they came to somewhere like that, that person is referring to the area they are currently in. If Rhea was only meaning to discuss a past action of moving to the States, wouldn't she have said when I moved rather than when I came? I understand Rhea is not necessarily a native English speaker, and English grammar is hard, which is why I've decided this isn't sufficient evidence on its own. Thankfully, I can go further. The first indicator for location we can address is the currency.
Season with triple the prize. The winner will win $3 million.
The English version refers to the currency as dollars, but what about the Spanish version?
Tercera temporada triplicamos el premio. El ganador se llevará $3 millones.
Dólares. Dólares is the Spanish word for dollars.
Dólares pesos.
It is not the same as pesos. Most of the primarily Spanish-speaking countries use a variant of pesos. Spain uses euro, and only a select few use USD. If dollars is the named currency, then the show surely takes place in a country that predominantly uses dollars. These are the countries that use dollars as its primary currency title. Most of these are small little countries that have adopted the USD, not necessarily as its main currency, but into its currency system. So the four we're going to look at are Canada, the United States of America, Australia, and New Zealand. Australia, right? New Zealand, Canada. You'll notice, even on the green notes, there's a splash of secondary color that isn't green for all three of these countries. With USD, however, it's fully green, with a border that's slightly darker green in color. Look familiar? So it's definitely USD. And as priorly stated, I don't think the prize money would be in a currency that's not the main currency for the country it takes place in. So it's in the States, for sure. But which state? Let's look at some of the natural fauna and flora that was showcased. We have a wolf,
torrential rains, and
a moose,
Dude, we've lost 3 cameramen to the grizzly bears alone. I'd rather avoid the
grizzly bears. Okay, I can work with that. I can work with gray wolf, moose, grizzly bear. I am not going to include the animals Crystal brought in season 3 episode 2 because she explicitly stated that she brought them in to populate, not repopulate, not reintroduce. And also lions live in Africa. So the animals brought in this episode, they're not necessarily natural to the area. So ignoring those and just going with the 3 we know. So moose are primarily in the northwestern states, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and Oregon. Let's see if we can narrow this down with the bear. Now, the green is historic range, not current range. The current range is only this little slice of orange in Washington, this bit of orange in Montana, and this bit of orange between Montana and Wyoming. I tried to add the little cross hatch lines here to showcase it better. There is a little sliver in northern Idaho, but because next up is the wolves. Again, dark green, potential, not where they currently are. You go away. So this doesn't really narrow it down any. Because of the bears, it's just going to be between the western ones. And we pretty much already narrowed it down to these 4. So let's add Flora to try narrowing it down further. We've seen apple trees many times. I tried to locate a map of where they are actively known to be growing rather than just an ideal climate map. I also looked at blueberries, but unfortunately I couldn't find a map for wild blueberries, only tame ones. But this little gray area is still a very small, less than minor, but not unoccupied territory. So between this and the apples, we could pretty much narrow it down to Washington or Montana. Because this small section in Idaho does not overlap with the wolves, nor the bears. So taking a look closely, this is the section that had the overlap, and we have Ross Lake. Okay, cool. What about Montana? Let's see, it was halfway between the outcrop here. Ooh, Flathead Lake. Both locations have a mountainous background and long thin trees that match well to the show's background environment. But there's one noticeable attribute to the Montana location, and it's the last indicator for location I'll discuss. The reservation. Tipiskaw is a word which originates from the Cree, but the reservation isn't inhabited by the Cree. Close proximity to each other, however, may have allowed the word to bleed or be adopted by other locals. There is this clip in Season 2, Episode 6, of Oliver mistaking Kai and Maggie for natives.
Ah! Natives!
The camp being near the reservation would have Oliver's mistake be more plausible and appropriate. So, there's my take. I think the camp is located by Flathead Lake, Montana. But I'd love to hear other guesses.